Hello, welcome on board AFM Advanced Financial Management. I'm Rashad Hussain, your expert tutor for AFM. For more than a decade, I've been on a mission to guide and help students nail FM and AFM exam. This is a debrief of question stock week. We're about to embark on a journey through a mock debrief for the stock week question. This is a 25 mark question, including 5 professional marks. Pay close attention to those professional marks. They're your secret sauce that can significantly boost your overall score. This question is on an exciting topic. It's none other than risk management, hedging, and treasury functions. Now, I know it might sound a bit challenging, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. If you haven't attempted this question before watching this video, you're highly recommended to pause the video, attempt it, and then come back to compare your answers. So now buckle up, get ready, because this mock debrief is your ticket to mastering the essential concepts and techniques. So let's jump in, going to the stock week question. This question has two exhibits, requirements, and two response options, namely the word processor and the spreadsheet. Let's start off with the exhibits. No, that is not how you're supposed to approach a question. That's a wrong approach. What is the most apt approach? You're first supposed to read the requirements. And let's open the requirements. And preferably, let's not read it from here. Let's take the requirements into the word processor. Let's copy paste it to the word processor. So here, let's select all the requirements. Selecting the requirements, copying it, bringing it into the word processor, paste it to the word processor. Now let's organize the question in the word processor. After organizing, the requirement is for 11 marks and it's all computation. Let's do it on the spreadsheet. So refer spreadsheet. We'll have the question copy and pasted into the spreadsheet as well. Now requirement B is all on commenting. It's for 9 marks. We'll have it here itself in the word processor. Now let's move on to the exhibits. Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1 speaks that Stockweek is a large cosmetic company and its chief executive is concerned about how the treasury department uses its derivatives, and they need to understand the purpose of derivatives. The exhibit 2 states that today's date is 1st April. So let's have those content into the word processor. No, rather we'll take it to the spreadsheet, opening the spreadsheet. The first point into the spreadsheet. What is point 1? That it is today is 1st April. Further, what is it? It says that it wants to borrow $36 million on 1st September, which means it is, what is it, after 5 months. Further, the period of loan is 5 months. The question further states that the bank base rate, the current base rate, how much is it? It is given 3.9 percentage, and suggests that there is a small prediction that it could rise by 0.5 percentage by, what is it, 1st September. And it can borrow at what is it? Bank base rate plus 60 basis point means it is 0.6 percentage. 0.6 percentage. Stockwick Treasury Department is considering is interest rates risk management using two options. One is the interest rate swap. The other one is a collar on options on the interest rate futures. The first information is given on the swap, and let's solve the swap one. What does it say? What does it say about swap? It states that there's a counterparty, and that counterparty can borrow floating at a base plus 140. Will be base plus 1.4. Its fixed rate is going to be 5%, whereas Stockwick can borrow fixed rate at 4.7 percentage, and bank is going to charge a fee of what is it, 10 basis point from either parties. Bank is going to act as an intermediary for the swap. That is why that 10 basis point charge is there. Now let us compute the gain from the swap, if any. Assessing potential gain from swap. Assessing potential gain from swap. We've got two parties, so let's particulars. What are the two parties? One is Stockwake company. We've got a counter party for the swap, and what is going to be the interest rate differentials. Let's just organize this as far as possible. Okay, what are the two rates that are given? One is the fixed rate, the other one is the floating rate. What fixed rate was given in the question? This was 4.7 that we just picked up, and here it is going to be base plus zero point 0.6 percentage. Here the counterparty happens to be 5 percentage, which is highlighted, and they are going to be base plus 140 percentage, happening to be 1.4 percentage. Now the differential 5 minus 4.7 is going to give me a difference of what is it, zero point 0.3 percentage, and base 1.4 minus base zero point 0.6 percentage is going to give me a difference of 0.8 percentage. Now, what is the difference of difference? That is, here this minus is going to give me, what is it? If I convert it into percentage, it's going to be 0.5 percentage. This is going to be my, what is it, gain percentage from swap before any bank charges. What is it? Before bank charges. And bank is going to charge bank, what is it, bank charges 10 basis points. So what is it, bank charges? That is zero point 0.1 percentage from both parties to swap, and that happens to be, what is it, 0.20 percentage. So what is going to be the gain percentage from swap after bank charges? It's going to be zero point 0.5 minus 0.2, happening to be 0.3 percentage. Okay, now let's see how the sharing of gain goes. Sharing of gain from swap. It's very clearly specified in the question that they're going to share it equally. So percentage, what is it? It's specified in the question. The gain is to be, what is it, to be shared equally. And if that is the case, gain percentage, what is it, after, so what is it, from swap, gain percentage from swap after bank charges is 0.3 percentage. 0.3 percentage. So if we share it equally, each party to swap receives gain of how much? Half of this divided by 2, so that happens to be 0.15 percentage. Now what you need to understand is that the stock wake has the advantage in borrowing both fixed and floating. They're both fixed and floating is cheaper, but which one has got different bigger difference? 0.8 is where it's for the floating. Now who gets floating cheaper? Stockwake gets it cheaper. So Stockwake has an advantage in the floating rate. There's a larger difference. So what is it? The Stockwake company has advantage in borrowing at both fixed and floating rates. But however, what is it? But the floating rate advantage is is larger. So suppose if there was no swap, so rate without swap would have, they would have, instead of taking floating, he would have take fixed, and fixed would have been, what is it, 4.7 percentage. Fixed would have been 4.7 percentage. Just copying the headings in order to save time. And here we're going to find out this result from swap. And if when stock week takes fixed, no doubt for the counter, for the swap purpose, counterparty is going to take the floating, which is going to be base plus 1.4 percentage, and less the savings from swap, which is going to be given equally, which is what is it, it's going to be point 0.15 percentage, here also 0.15 percentage. Now listen, the net result, the cost of using after swap is going to be what, 4.7 minus 0.15 is going to give 4.55 percentage. And the counterparty cost is going to be base plus, what is it, 1.25 percentage, that is 1.4 minus 0.15. So on borrowing, the cost for Stockwake through swap arrangement is going to be 4.55 percentage. Now the next requirement in the question is about calculating for collar. It has 3 months September futures, where it is 1 million is the contract size. And as far as collar is concerned, especially this being a case of borrowing is where like we are selling the bonds, issuing the bonds to pay interest. So issuing the bonds is like selling, and it is what position do we take? We take a put position. So what are we going to do here? We're going to buy a put option and do the opposite, and that's going to be the call option. We're going to sell it. So let's document that. So in a caller requires to buy a put option and sell a call option. Now here the put is only available at, there's only one strike price, which is 95.5. The put is available and the strike is available at 96. Further, it says that the current September futures is 95.62, and that is going to be 4.38 percentage. How 4.38? 100 minus 95.62 will give me 4.38 percentage. Question further states that the basis is going to diminish to zero at contract maturity, and it also states that that's going to be based on monthly time intervals. Now, with that, let us head further into the solution. In this case, we're going to buy September put option at 95.5, and that's going to be 4.5 percentage for how much? 0.234. That's nothing but the premium. It's considered in percentage. And we're going to sell the September call option at 96, and that's going to be 4 percentage, 4 percentage for how much? 0.219. Now, just to document what is the loan amount in order to calculate the number of contracts, loan amount is 36 million, and we've got the contract size from the question to be 1 million. Further, it is specified that the duration of loan in months is 5 months, and the standard, this is something, be careful, standard futures duration has specified in the question in months is what is it? It's going to be 3 months. So that will help us calculate the what is the number of contracts that needs to be coming up here. Number of contracts is going to be 36 million divided by 1 million, and the standard lot being 3 multiplying by 5 will give me the number of contracts to be 60 contracts. So we're going to be entering into 60 contracts. Now we've got the opening futures, closing futures is not available. So we've got to calculate that closing futures. So our next focus is calculation of closing future futures price, not the current, not on 1st April, but rather at the end, on what is it, 1st September, what is going to be the price. Now, based on what is given in the question, it is assumed that the basis diminishes to diminish to 0 0 at contract maturity at what? At a constant monthly constant rate, and based on what is it? Based on monthly time intervals. So we've got to understand that total number of months to maturity from 1st April to September end is going to be how much? 6 months. Calculate it, add it all up. How many months? Huh? From total, that is starting from April, May, June, July, August, including September. How much is 6 months till the end of September? The remaining months on 1st September, at the beginning of the month, then what is only there? Only that September month is there. From 1st September to the end of September, that is 1 month. Now this will help us. Now we need to understand that the base rate is going to be rises by 0.5 percentage from 3.9 percentage to 4.4. This is what we are expecting the closing rate to be. So based on that, the 1st April rate and the 1st September, the spot rate is going to be as specified. This is going to be 3.9, and from above, what is it? It's going to be 4.4. And the futures rate, how do we find the 1st April rate? the one that you can highlight, see highlighted on the exhibit. September futures, what is it? It is 95.62. 100 minus 95.62 will give you, what is it, 4.38 percentage. And we need to find out the futures on 1st September, which is missing. We'll be able to find out that how the closing rate futures will be equal to, what is it, closing spot, which is 4.4, plus the difference between, what is it, opening futures and current spot rate, divided by total months into the remaining months, divided by total months into the remaining months. So here, the based on that, what are we doing? We're finding the closing futures rate, which is plus the differences minus this, divided by how many months? 6 into 1 will give me how much? Converting it into percentage, two decimals, gives me the closing rate as, what is it, 4.48 percentage. Yeah, I found the closing rate. Now I can move ahead and proceed to decide whether how is the put option and the call option, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to excise it or are we going to lapse it? So here, what are we going to assess? We are going to assessing whether it is going to be exercise or lapse. So the particulars, we've got the buy put, okay, and what is it? The X, what is the excise price? Excise price is 4.5 percentage. That is means we're going to pay interest, okay, for you to understand a little more easier. The closing futures, which we've just calculated from above, tends to be 4.48 percentage. This is the price where you're going to receive interest. Now tell me, is the receipt less or higher? Receipt is less, so that means you're not going to go for it, you're going to lapse it, you're going to lapse it. Now in this, in the case of sell call, in the case of sell call, it's 4 percentage, that is 96, 100 minus 96 giving you 4 percentage, and this is what we have calculated, 4.8 percentage. At 4 percentage, we're going to receive interest, we're going to receive, and at 4.4, what is it we're going to pay? Again here, it's not favorable, receipt is less, so again here it's going to be lapse. Now both of them is lapse, we're not going to take up any of these options. Now the net cost is going to be without excising both, it's going to be lapse. So the net cost on collar, what is it? It's going to be the particulars and the amount in dollar. Borrowing cost, what's going to be the borrowing cost? 36 million into, we're going to lapse, so the rate at the end is, what is it? It's going to be 4.4 plus, what is it, 4.4 plus the extra base plus percentage, what was it? It was zero point 0.6, so it's going to be, what is it, 4.4 percentage plus point point 6 percentage into 5 divided by 12. So the interest that we're going to pay is going to be 750,000. And what is the premium cost that we're going to incur? As far as the premium is concerned, is going to be 0.234 percentage minus the other one, which is 0.219 percentage into the total, what is it, 36 million into 5 divided by 12. That turns to be, what is it, 2000 250, and we get the total payment is going to be the sum of these two. And when we try to find out the annual interest rate or the cost of this divided by 36 million divided by 5 into 12 and turning it into a percentage, the annual cost is going to be 5.2 percentage, and 5.2 percentage is higher than what we have at swap, which is, what is it, 4.55 percentage. Now this requirement A, the first requirement, requires us to calculate. It is not asking us to comment. So picking up those requirements, what is it? Calculate in terms of percentage the result of hedging strategies that are being considered for the 36 million loan. If the central bank base raises to 4.4 percentage, your calculation should demonstrate the rate at which payments between counterparties should be made. So it's only asking for the computation, and we're done with the computation in the spreadsheet. Now moving, all the other things are in requirement B, with the commenting, the advantage, disadvantage, all those are in requirement B. Now, what's there in requirement B? Comment on the results of your calculation A and discuss the advantage and the drawbacks for Stokeware, company of interest rate swaps compared with the trade, what is it, traded collars, including a consideration for the risk involved. It's for 9 marks. The comments, see, just commenting that the swap cost is 4.55 and the collar is 5.02 percentage. The collar is more expensive than swap, hence reject collar and choose swap. Stopping your comments there will stop your professional marks. You need to take it further. What all can you add in order to fetch those professional marks? You've got to say that this is based on what? It is based on the predictions that the base will rise. We are assuming all the other predictions are correct. And what if the base fall? When the base fall, it could happen that caller might give you the better results. Directors, they need to consider how accurate the past predictions are. And it will not be just that the swap is cheaper. They might also want to consider the advantage and disadvantage of the instruments. So what are the points? Again, coming back, based on calculation, based on calculations, swap is recommended. I'm just writing points, not the full sentences. As far as exam is required, then this is based on prediction that base rate will fall. Suppose if the prediction is caller may give better result, may give better results. What is it? If base rate falls, directors needs to consider past prediction, what accuracy did it have, and finally maybe they would also consider the, not just that swap is cheaper, but advantages and disadvantages of those instruments would also be advantages of the instruments shall be considered before deciding which one to go for. So this is as far as comments are concerned. Now, as far as the advantages of swap, and we've also to comment on disadvantages of swap. What would be the advantages on swap? The swap is mostly over the counter, so it can be arranged in any size whereas collar is mostly standardized, it is exchange traded and standardized. And the exchange traded are mostly for short period. So if you want to go for long period, swap shall be recommended. Now, swap will help us to make use of the comparative advantage. Swapping helps this company to have a fixed rate of interest, avoiding the uncertainty of what is it, the variability, removal of the variability, and avoiding the what is it, the risk of the floating rate where variability could be there. So, what could be the point? We could say that swap is OTC, over the counter, and it could be in any sizes, any size. It could be tailored to according to our needs, but the collar is exchange traded and hence standardized is a big problem. The collar is generally for short period, why it is exchange traded, but swap okay, for maybe it could be taken for longer. Hmm? The collar uh, doesn't have any comparative advantage, so that when you want to compare yourself with a counterparty, what would recommend the swap is better. So swap has what is it, the comparative advantage. Finally, it helps you, swap helps to lock into a fixed rate and not the variable, where you have the on where you have the risk of variability. Now, speaking of the disadvantage, the problem with swap is the counterparty not meeting the not meeting the liability, where we might face the counterparty risk. Uh, Now, this counterparty risk can be avoided when we have, when it is arranged through a bank. Mm, the caller would also, here in swap, we cannot make use of favorable interest rate changes. But in caller, we can make use of the favorable interest rate changes. Swaps are over the counter, hence not traded, and swap we cannot lapse. Hmm. So here further, what is the point? Further, we can add on what is it? Documenting those points. Caller could take advantage of favorable interest rate changes. Swaps are OTC, over the counter, hence not traded and cannot be lapsed. Sometimes what is it? Swaps end in what is it? Higher interest payments. Fixed, when you go to the fixed interest rate, when the base falls, swap sometimes you end up with higher interest rate payments. Now, putting across these points in full-fledged sentence, as you see on the screen, comments drafted in full sentence. You can pause the video, take a screenshot. Advantages of these swaps drafted in full. And finally, disadvantages of swap. This is how your answer is supposed to be. As far as Stock Week is concerned, well, that's it for now. Wishing you all the best for your upcoming exams. This is your AFM expert tutor, Rashad Hussain, signing off. Thank you. Bye.